So Nobara 44 launched about 2 weeks ago, and I've had it since day one on July 8th. Don't do what I did. Welcome to Vensire Studios, and let's get this started. As usual, chapters will be provided in the description below, and you could use that or the seek bar to jump to an area that you feel is most relevant, in case you want to just jump around and not just listen to me babble and go over other things that are in here. But with that out of the way, let's go discuss Nobara Linux 44. And we're going to just go over it right now in the About This System section right now before we get into the kind of weeds of it. With Nobara Linux 44, it comes with KDE Plasma version 6.7.2. One of the things it does that I've noticed is that it allows you to see when you install a new program and so forth. This is if, of course, you're using the KDE platform official one directly from them. Kernel version this time is a 7.1.3. And this is a Nobara branch one that they did themselves. 7.1, if my memory serves me right, is the one that brought better scheduling for like the CPUs and so forth on modern hardware to be more efficient and so forth. Now, with that being said, in case you didn't know, Nobara itself is built upon the Fedora Linux distribution, primary distribution. So yeah, version 44 of this came back out though in April. The reason I'm bringing this up is, well, first off, obviously the Nobara team would have been going through vetting everything and letting you know, well, not letting people, actually they didn't. They would be vetting the packages, seeing what they wanted to upgrade, seeing how things would be most compatible with everything inside the distro themselves before doing the full platform update itself. Now, unfortunately, I haven't seen anywhere on Nobara's site where they talk about this. So the only place to really look at it, from what I can really think about it, other than thinking of like looking at the KDE stuff, is going to Nobara itself and looking at the change set that is through here. I will actually include this in the description below for your convenience if you want to go take a look at it. It's actually pretty lengthy overall, but yeah, I mean, here's on the Nobara's main page itself. I've looked into their FAQ. This is the download section, which they still don't have ISOs updated to version 44. We'll come kind of back to that from the issues that I kind of ran into with why I said don't do this. Don't do what I did. Like I said, the FAQ, it doesn't have a release note section. But yeah, this update officially came out on July 8th. And it was at the most inconvenient time for me. I literally was just getting home from vacation with my family. We spent 2 weeks out of the country, which in turn, the first couple days out of the country, I got sick. And I was kind of like trudging along for the entire vacation and trying to not be hopefully overly sick, which I kind of was, but on the ride home I was just completely off, jet lagged, got onto my computer, loaded it up, and I'm like, hey, there's gonna be updates because I've been, you know, gone for 2 weeks and this hasn't been on and nothing's been touched. I didn't read how many updates there were, so I just hit apply all. And that's when I realized my mistake. There was like 6,000 to 7,000 some packages that needed to be updated. And I was like, wait, what? I knew that this was going from Nobara 43 to 44 at that moment in time. I did not have to read anything else. It clicked in my head that this was happening. And then, being my jet lag dumbass of myself, I updated my wife's computer and my laptop because, hey, Nobara's never done me any wrong. Nobara's been great. I love Nobara. It has been such a good operating system and friend of mine. My first mistake was not making a snapshot of what my system was on Nobara 43. Nobara comes with this nifty little program, Time Shift. Usually when you first load it up, it has a asks you what type of snapshot you want or so forth. So I'll maybe cover this in another video at some point in time, but I just want to know, you could close it out, get here, and you can literally just tell it to create a snapshot of the system, and it'll have the snapshot right here, and then you could hit it to tell it to restore. Well, right here it shows the at-home volume. I'm sure you could probably back up a hell of a lot more for the snapshots, obviously, but this is just the basic version of what you could have to get things restored back to where they were. So maybe that isn't the best way to do it, but I've done snapshots in the past. I only tested it once, like 7 months ago. I do have to go through this and set this up properly. So this is, if you're going through the wizard, you choose the location you want to make the snapshot, what you want to take a snapshot of, which obviously is my entire system there. Then you tell it how many snapshots you want, how many you want to keep out of it, and then you just hit finish. And that should set up for, so next time I boot up my system, it'll create the snapshot. Because doing this means that you can restore your system if something goes wrong. So like I said, this is something I haven't done right. This is something that's on me for not setting up these snapshots and everything so things could be restored. And because of this, if I had something massively go wrong when updating from Nobara Linux 43 to 44, I would have been screwed. Now, I was only semi-screwed. And that's what we're going to get into here now. It didn't warrant me having to reinstall it, but I'm going to go over somebody else who did run into major issues that made a post of it online. So, yeah. Usually, of course, for Flatpaks now, they've got the Bazaar utility, which is nice in its own right. Actually, I'm going to go check here because last time I checked, it still isn't working to delete the extra data you have from the program itself. So that wasn't my major issue with this. My major issue is, say, loading up WeVRN. It could not detect graphics Vulkan drivers and libraries and everything else properly. So Flatpak was flat out kind of borked when I did it the first day. It was fixed within a day. Thank you. Nobara, from everything I understand, is really maintained by one person, and that's Glorious Egg Rolls himself from Proton, who is from what I understand, part of the Proton team, and he makes his own, third-party version of it that's supposed to be maybe a little more optimized than the direct one from Valve itself. Cheers for making such a wonderful distribution, because I love everything you do here. But yeah, this is one of the major issues that I had with it, is I couldn't do VR gaming. I also had to resync my headset up to here again. Now, obviously, that seemed easy enough to do. So you might need to check your settings on Flatpaks and so forth after upgrading in case there's something that went wonky. Hopefully it doesn't really bother you. And another thing, like I said, this wouldn't delete third-party data. Let's see if this does it now. Looks like it did it. This had to have been recently fixed or something because it wasn't working. And the other thing that wasn't working, surprisingly enough, was default applications for myself. It wouldn't let me change my default application. That has since been also fixed up as well, and it seems to be fine. Like, when I hit this patch, because I have a friend who boots in Nobara Linux as well, the next day I immediately sent him a text, and I was like, dude, do not upgrade Nobara for 2 weeks. I'm like, they just launched their major revision to version 44, and there are some problems with it, and I don't want you to potentially having to finagle with the stuff going on. And he's like, just don't touch it for 2 weeks. And lo and behold, some of the stuff I was even seeing yesterday, with the deleting extra data and so forth. I'm gonna check this again with Aruna. I have this installed also. So delete and delete third-party data. Nope. See, This is okay, so this isn't quite fixed yet. This might be I don't know if it's a Bazaar thing or if it's a Nobara thing, but hopefully this gets fixed soon, because I don't remember having this issue in version 43. As for repos and so forth, you should check and make sure that any third-party things you have installed, like I got Proton VPN used in here. I think I had Mega installed on here, and I think it removed it. I've still been sick, hence why this video is coming out now, is I've only started getting better. Like this past week, I got antibiotics and things because of how sick I got and whatnot. It was no good. But yeah, I think I did have it before, and I think it removed Mega. I might be wrong. Correct me in the description below if I'm wrong, because I definitely could be at this point in time, but I got Mega set up, reinstalled, whatever, and it seems to be okay. The last problem I have noticed off and on is audio crackling in my headset when this patch was first released. I haven't noticed it nearly as much, or it's gone now. I know there have been Pulse audio updates that have been pushed through since the full change, but yeah, after all this time and it being about 2 weeks since, you know, they did the launch, everything seems to be overall doing a lot better. For gaming, I haven't really noticed a change in frame rate. I tested it. The only one I've really tested on was Cyberpunk 2077. So I think the only real change that is going to come on NVIDIA graphics is the next major driver version that is coming on through. And because they got Vulkan stuff that's supposed to be improving it even farther than the most recent one that happened. And with that being said, I want to actually cover this update log this person put out himself. Now, he thankfully has fixed everything, but unlike me, this is an example where everything could go horribly wrong, because it did for this guy. So as it says, Nelson's log, Nobara update. I continue to like my Nobara Linux system, a Fedora variant, but the upgrade process is not giving me a good feeling. Fedora 44 was released late April, like I explained about it. Nobara updated to it. It's a huge update. It's up 8,000 packages on my system, so he had like 1,000 more than me. But part of the promise of Fedora and Debian is these upgrades are safe, transactional, and reliable. I've had major issues at times with Debian, not Debian, Ubuntu specific updates, because obviously Ubuntu is built upon Debian, but I've had issues with like Kubuntu and so forth where the stuff could get borked. Issues with the one I was using before, this Bougie Linux. that could sometimes just be like, hey, this doesn't work now. Not so much Nobara. Common wisdom on the subreddit is to wait a couple of weeks after the Nobara release before installing it yourself. I blame jet lag. And to make a snapshot to roll back it to by hand, and to expect it might not work. Which thankfully for me and all three of my systems, it did. Now this guy's issue was an NVIDIA graphics issue. So I just think it's just skip down to here. Some of this complexity is a mess that is NVIDIA drivers on Linux. As I type this, I am waiting for my computer to finish recompiling from sources. That's not Nobara's fault. That's NVIDIA's. So thank you, NVIDIA. You're amazing. I don't know what graphics this guy's on. He doesn't specify what he is using on his system directly. So at least in the end, I think it was his third time he was recompiling or so far, and it seems to work now, and his graphics look right as he states here. I left a comment about what was going on with me as well, so that's great. He got it all up and running. But yeah, one thing I would like to see, because is here. It says it right here. The scariest thing is you're not allowed to just use Fedora's DNF to update. Instead, you're supposed to use the GUI tool custom to Nobara, which is the DNF App Center, which is usually located right down here. Although there is an undocumented CLI version too, it's not clear what all this tool is doing, but this list of quirks is one hint. This is where I would have to deviate from what he says here, because if you do it via the client, you're going client terminal. If you're doing it via the terminal, you are able to see exactly what is being installed, and that way after it is done installing, if you feel like you want to, you can literally go scroll back up and everything and look at everything that was changed. That's a little too neurotic even for me. I won't do that. I come as the generic person who I want it to work. I want it to get up and running, I want it to get it working, and I want it to do what I want and then stay doing it. And if you cause an issue, I'll be upset. But like I've said, thankfully Nobara has been nice to me. Now, it's not perfect, but nothing is. Still been a hell of a lot better than Windows has been this past year with a lot of people in their systems. But yeah, I'm going to show while I'm babbling about this so you can see that we're doing an update on it, because I know I have one coming to show you the lists and so forth, and you can see it for yourself. But yeah, in the end, it is supposed to look through, it looks through fixes and so forth. It's supposed to, seemingly, from what I can understand, keep things up and running nicely. I've mentioned this before in the past and whatnot. And yeah, hopefully you don't have any issues now. It's been a couple of weeks this Wednesday, and everything seems to be playing much nicer. Any other issues? There is one other issue I've noticed. It might be pertaining to my Razer mouse, and that is for some reason when my screen is turned off or when I bring it back from like sleep mode or whatever, my mouse hangs for like a minute. I don't know if it has something to do with the USB reconnecting to the dongle or whatnot, but that is like my last gripe of this overall. But yeah, I've definitely rambled on more than enough for what is going on here. Obviously this came before my gaming video, which I want to do a deeper dive into what does work, what isn't working really friendly at all in gaming, and where I hope to see things going in the future. And I'll probably see about maybe including some benchmarks between Windows and Linux, so you can see the deviation between NVIDIA from Windows to Linux, since NVIDIA is still behind how AMD is, which is on par with it in general. But yeah, I'm done rambling. So like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave it in the comment section below. And if you liked what you saw here, I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you get notified when a new video drops. If you're already subscribed and everything, then I appreciate your support. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.